Thousands of federal workers. But first, let's bring in Republican Congressman Ken Buck of Colorado. He's here in studio with me. Thanks so much for being here. So House Republicans are meeting right now as we speak, a meeting that your House Speaker Kevin McCarthy convened. You voted against the bill that Speaker McCarthy put forward. Why did you do that?
Simple, Jake. We've got to stop the pattern that we've been on for so long. Every year, we end up with a bill right before a shutdown or right before a default on a debt ceiling. I'm voting to make sure that we pass all 12 appropriations bills. We go meet with the Senate. We agree on those 12 appropriations bills and move forward. The idea that a group of 4 leaders on either side of the Capitol building can come up with spending bills without the input of 535 members is just wrong.
So what do you think McCarthy is telling the House Republicans right now, and what would you say to him if you were there or when you go there?
Well, I think this was a no confidence vote. This was a vote where people didn't have faith that Kevin McCarthy was going to do the right thing. We passed a bill on the debt ceiling. He went and negotiated a significantly higher number with President Biden. People don't have faith that when it comes time to negotiate, he's going to do the right thing with Senator Schumer over in the Senate. So right now, what he is telling, I believe, he is telling Republicans is that we will go to work for the next 2 weeks. We will pass as many appropriations bills as we can, and we'll deal with this shutdown towards the end of next week, the following week, before federal workers are going to receive their paychecks again. So
he's saying the government's going to shut down, and then we'll just keep doing the appropriations bills and keep sending them to the Senate? You think that's what he's saying?
I know that's what he's saying. And what's sad is we knew this was happening in June. We could have started passing appropriations bills months ago. We didn't need this brinkmanship that we have right now.
So you voted, it's a weird situation we have here, because even if what you voted against had passed the House, the Senate was not going to vote for it. The Senate was not going to take it up. So this is all just kind of a weird kabuki theater, because Kevin McCarthy walked away from a deal that you opposed also, but now he has nothing. But what's your message to the private in the Army, an E1, who makes $23,000 a year, whose now is not going to be made until you and your colleagues get your act together? She just got her last paycheck and told the government shutdown is over. Let's assume that she agrees with everything you're saying, but she also just wants to be paid, and she needs to be paid to do her job.
And she will be paid on October 13th because the shutdown will be over. And what's more important is that when it's time for her to receive Social Security, it will be there. When it's time for her to receive Medicare, it will be there. And when it's time to pay back this $36 trillion of debt that we're going to have at the end of next year, we will do it in a responsible way.
But the solution to the bigger problems that you're talking about, and you and I have talked about this before, the idea that as a government we spend more than we take in, the idea that some other people are voting against the bill because of the mess at the border, that there's a border crisis. Also, let's just posit that that's true and more needs to be done there. This situation is not helping to solve either of those problems, this government shutdown. What needs to be done is Democrats, you need 10 Democrats in the Senate to stand with you on something and pass that will then force their hand and then force President Biden's hand.
Yeah, to me, Jake, it's more of an institutional solution that we need to look at. And we need to make sure that every committee has a subcommittee that's looking at spending in those agencies. We need to actually address the elephant in the room, and not just because I'm a Republican, but the elephant in the room that these Social Security and Medicare are costing us so much. We have avoided those tough issues because we're afraid of what the voters are going to do in the next election. We can't keep avoiding those issues.
Congressman Matt Gaetz, your colleague from Florida, says that he's going to force a vote on ousting the Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, next week. There's a lot of talk out there about other possible replacements like Tom Emmer of Minnesota and others. Will you vote? If he offers a motion to vacate, to get rid of Speaker McCarthy, would you vote to support that?
Well, I think a lot of people voted today, as I said earlier, as a vote of no confidence. I will not support something until I see what's going to happen in the next 5-6 days.
So in other words, you wouldn't vote. So that's 21 votes. You think the 21 votes against this bill were essentially 21 votes, no confidence against McCarthy, but you won't commit to voting against him until you maybe know who the replacement would be?
Well, I want to know what his plan is, and just doing more appropriations bills isn't the plan. What's a CR going to look like? And if he passes what the Senate sends over, that has various aid packages associated with it, that's something he's going to need Democrat help for, and that's going to be a strike against him.
All right, Republican Congressman Ken Buck.